Transitions. They're a part of every editor's visual storytelling toolkit. How and where you make edits to the footage will affect your viewer's experience with the video. Now let me say that again, but see if you can spot the difference. Transitions. They're a part of every editor's visual storytelling toolkit. How and where you make edits to the footage will affect your viewer's experience with the video. What you just saw was the difference between a J and L cut. Both are simple transitions from one piece of footage to the next. The distinction is the placement of the audio in relation to your video. For example, here I have two clips, the talking head and the B-roll visual. If I move the B-roll over the start of my talking head, this is a J cut because the visual has audio from the second clip underneath it. A practical use of a transition like this is to help you, the viewer, anticipate what's about to happen next. For example, you're hearing the sound of water in the shower before actually showing you a visual of me doing this voiceover from a shower. That's a J cut. In fact, this is also a J cut because you heard the audio from this clip underneath the visual and audio from the previous clip of me in the shower. Why is it called a J cut? Because the footage looks like a J when you do a transition like this. Which leads me to my next example, the L cut, which you could probably guess looks like an L. It's where the audio from the first clip carries over underneath the visual of the second clip. Like how I'm still talking here, but you're looking at the visual of me turning off the water. J and L cuts also work well when you're doing dialogue between two people. I mean, like how I start to talk, but then it cuts to the visual of me after my audio was previously under your visual. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're listening to two people have a conversation in real life. You hear a person talk first, and that gives you the reaction to physically look at them. Huh, what a neat example of J and L cuts. A second easy transition to do in camera is the whip pan. This is where you hide the cut of the transition in the motion blur of the panning between the two shots. To achieve the smoothest version of this transition, make sure that your whip pans are always going in the same direction. For instance, whipping the opposite way doesn't look as good as if you were to follow the motion from the previous shot, like so. Let me briefly explain how to do it. Like I mentioned before, a smooth way to achieve this transition is to pre-plan or know which way you're going to be whipping the camera in or out of the take. So if I were to rotate or whip the camera out of a take counterclockwise, I wouldn't want to start the camera in that same position and rotate clockwise back to center. What you would want to do is start with the camera in the opposite direction and rotate counterclockwise back to center, because you're basically continuing the rotation of that full counterclockwise pan all the way back to center. Once we get in the editor, it's really easy to stitch these clips together. Just move your playhead to where there's a bunch of motion blur in the clip, so about right here, and create a cut. I'm gonna delete the rest of that clip and find a good blurry chunk in the beginning of your next clip, split it and move them together. If you look at it in slow motion, you can definitely tell a difference when I'm switching clips, but at real speed, it looks pretty cool to me. The last transition I want to talk about is the wipe, where an object wipes across the screen to reveal the clip underneath. For this example, you saw me keyframe a mask of this little toy motorized car as it crossed the screen. In Premiere Pro, take the first clip and move it to the track above your second clip with a little bit of overlap to make room for your transition. Highlight the top clip, go to opacity, and click the pen tool. Now we're ready to draw and keyframe a mask of the police car over time. To get a better view, I like to go to the left-hand bottom corner of the program monitor and zoom out on my program window. Next, I move the playhead to the end of the clip because I like to work backwards when keyframing. I use the pen tool on the program monitor to create my initial mask. Then I hit the stopwatch next to mask path to begin my keyframing. Move the playhead to the beginning of the transition and resituate the mask. At this point, it's a matter of moving through the clip, making fine adjustments to feathering and the mask. And here's the final result. If this video was helpful, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. My name's Javier Mercedes, and if you're looking for some more awesome video editing tips, well, you could click on another video. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you could click on that one as well. Go ahead. No pressure. All right. Bye, guys.